Hello, everyone. This is Michael Mirdad here. Thank you for joining us. This is our Friday night spiritual insights with Michael Mirdad. So today, as per, it was a couple of days ago, somebody in the Edenshire Live on Zoom, which is what it's called, in that program, one of our hosts, facilitators, mentioned the concept of apologizing. And so I kind of added my 2 cents because I was on the program, and I added a few words to that when she was done. And then I said, maybe we'll just do a talk on this. So today I was thinking, well, yeah, let's do that. Let's go for that. So simply stated, some people are going to tell you to try to never apologize. Others will tell you you need to always apologize, and so on. Two extremes, right? But there are a lot of new age, well-meaning people that say, hey, man, don't apologize. Don't ever say I'm sorry, because the words I'm sorry makes me a sorry soul, a sorry, like some people would say you're a sorry SOB or whatever. I'm a sorry soul. It sounds lowly and it puts you down. No, it doesn't. Unless that's the attitude you have when you say it. You could actually just sincerely say to someone, I'm deeply sorry that happened to you. Or I'm sorry I knocked you over by mistake. It's nice. It's mature, but it depends on the person. If I'm insecure, saying sorry could be part of a negative pattern of mine. That is to say, broken people apologize incessantly, and it's a compulsion. It's like, it's almost like practically like a wave knocks somebody over at the beach 1 mile down, and you saw it happen. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. It's just too extreme. You're sorry for everything, and then you are a sorry soul. That is like, wow, you're pretty a sad soul, because why are you apologizing for everything? It's because you have such low self-worth that you think everything's your fault, which is a reverse narcissism, because you're still thinking everything's about you. But instead of everything's about you and you're better than everyone else, everything's about you and everybody else is better than you. It's still a narcissism, meaning it's a false self-centeredness. Everything's about you. Everything that goes wrong, it's somehow your fault. Just relax. That's not healthy. That's not necessary. It tempts other people to think negatively of you. It might look, you think, good. It's not. And tempts other people. It tempts you to go deeper into this hole of low self-worth, but it also tempts other people. Okay? So just, not constructive overall. It's just not the best way to go. But when people are waking up, we get the opposite of the pendulum. Now, instead of, I'm sorry, we start to go, I never apologize. It's not my fault. And I know people like that. They're just wounded again. They're starting to wake up means only. I mean, they might have just started that way instead of this way. Sometimes they start overly apologizing, and sometimes they start without and just being stubborn. Other times we start with too much and then we overcompensate by too little. That's kind of how we approach this. But the people that refuse, oh man, I've seen people in my life, I've seen people out there in the world who, no matter what, they just cannot. I mean, their life could depend on it. They can't say, sorry about that, my bad, oops, they just can't do it. Now, what's behind that? It means I'm so wounded, whether it's programmed, scared, post-trauma, whatever, but I'm so wounded that I've dug in, because if I say sorry once more, if someone makes me take responsibility once more, I'm going to break. But that means that I'm a very small soul. That's what it means. It says I can't afford any more, which is sad, because it could mean post-trauma, people have abused you, forced you to take, responsibility for their stuff. I get that. I'm just saying it's a statement. It affirms I can't take any more, which means I'm already on the verge of blowing a fuse. So becoming firm, I never apologize anymore. I used to do that too much. all you're doing is becoming overreactive to having apologized. It's revenge, it's stubbornness, it's, and you can think, no, I'm just setting boundaries. No, boundaries are not about extremes. Boundaries are found somewhere in here, the center. So, there's the too much, there's the not apologizing. It's not my fault. You can't prove I did it. I've seen even political figures do that where they can't say, oops, yeah, that was kind of a mistake there. Most big politicians, I mean, why, what's wrong? Why can't you go, I think we kind of made a mistake there. Very rarely can you find that. I remember one big corporate person, I won't name, and there was a meeting where he was talking to shareholders or he was talking to fans or whatever. And somebody says, why is this one thing you guys put out on the market? Why is it so crappy? Why doesn't it work? Why do you guys keep doing this with it? And he just goes, I don't know. It's a great question. And I want my team members to find out. I mean, it's like, well, everybody was like, whoa. And they all applauded. Like, why didn't they start throwing tomatoes at him for doing wrong? Because he owned it and said, I honestly don't know why the product's messed up and we need to get it right. That's all they were asking. So there is a more centered, what I would call, more like mastery-oriented version of an apology. First of all, as you would know from anybody in 12 steps, there's something called apologize and make amends. In the Gospels, we hear about, a person who repents, is the word, but it still means to repent means to apologize and make amends. Jesus is very specific about that, where he doesn't say when people flippantly apologize, buy into it. That's not what he says, although a lot of people pervert it to mean that. What he said was when they come to you, honestly, truly repentant, which means not only am I sorry, I'm going to guarantee you I'm working on that. I'm going to be different. I'm not going to do that again. I'll do my best to not do that. That's really repentance. And when somebody does that, it's worth saying, okay, cool. All right. We'll give it another shot. But I'm not telling you about enabling. This isn't a talk on that. This isn't a talk on boundaries. So I won't go too far with that, but I will say just because they say sorry and whatever, and I'll make amends doesn't mean they're there. They might want to, but if they're weak enough, they won't follow through with it. So instead, you probably want to consider, let's pretend you let it go and everything's peachy, copacetic, but then they do it again. Okay, apologize. Here comes an amends. It seems serious, sincere. Fine, I'll let it go again. At some point, it's not that I'm doubting your intention to be apologetic and make amends, but if it's not happening, the change isn't happening, you still drink, you still drug, you still abuse, you still hit me, you still cheat on whatever, on and on. It seems like my staying with you isn't exactly helping. Oh, but I'm promising. No. I heard you promise, but it's not changing. If we tried staying together and you didn't change, I wonder if we need to try the only other option, part, and then you make an attempt. And they might pull through and they might not. But, the pattern is when people apologize and make amends, trust as best you can. Now, if something really tragic or dangerous happened, physical abuses and abuse of the kids and that sort of thing, you probably need to not go to that place and go, well, they apologized. They said they'll never do it again. I need the amends to happen before I hear you. Let me hear about how you've been in counseling for a couple of years and changed your ways and all that. Then I think we can have a conversation. The apology and amends doesn't always mean I welcome you back into my life before I see the evidence of the amends. So think about that. So apologies, masters are like, look, you know what? All that really matters is the way I would deal with this, mind you, as well, is what matters is the greater good. So if I'm going to apologize to you, I don't want to apologize out of compulsion, and I also don't want to resist apologizing. So which one do I do on any given moment? My feeling is, what is it that bridges us? What is it that creates the greatest good? This is how my brain works pretty consistently anyway, which most of the time it's really beautiful and helpful in my life. And once in a while, I still a little too naive or a little too, oops, I trusted before, I saw evidence or before I knew for sure. It happens. We're on this planet, new tests, new levels of forgiveness to extend. But for the most part, what matters is the greater good. So if I think it's going to help more than it would hurt to accept an apology from you, or for me to apologize, that's what I'm looking for. I don't care if I did it or not. If you thought I bumped into you and you slipped because of it and you looked at me strange, oh, sorry, are you okay? Why did I say sorry? Because it looked from your face, your expression, like you needed someone to care. So I said, sorry about that. I saw this happen once somewhere in a house where somebody bumped something on the wall and it fell off the wall, and didn't hurt the person, but it just fell off and kind of bumped them on its way to the ground. But it startled them. And this person, I saw it and I'm like, wow, like just wanting to check out visually if everybody's okay. She got ticked at me because, why aren't you apologizing? I'm looking around like, what do I have to do with it? Da, 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 da. And she started getting weird. So I could have said, lady, your lesson today is to stop being bitchy. I could have done that because it would have been true. But the greater good was, oh, okay, sorry about that. Why did I say sorry if it wasn't me that did it? Because the greater good needs to take precedent, guys. The greater good isn't my enabling her behavior. So I could have said the other too. I could have said, lady, you're just out of line. And that would have been okay if I would have been called to do that. But in this moment, without all the details, the best thing was to calm it all down with an apology. Did it enable her ego? Yes, that's what it was doing in her ego. That's what was happening. She was getting her ego stroked the way she likes. But the greater good for everybody else in that building, that was it. Then it decompressed. It was done. Without that, she would have just kept going off on people. And she was willing to go off on anybody around her. Okay? So I look for the greater good. I look for bridging. I've had it happen. Sometimes people think if we apologize, it somehow confirms guilt. And I think that there's a truth to that on some minor levels. That if I say, oh, sorry, they assume it was me. But how big are you as a soul? If you're worried, I'm not going to apologize because then they'll think, it's a little weird, guys. That's a little unhealthy and codependent. So I just go, well, what's the greatest good? I'm apologizing not for guilt and shame, not compulsively. I'm apologizing because it might calm a situation. It might bridge, because now we're talking, that person and I. What happened? Oh, sorry about that. What happened? See, that immediately meant it wasn't me, so I can do that. But if you're a big enough soul to do that, some of us are like, no, I cannot apologize, even if I did something. I know people like that. Doesn't matter. It's like pulling teeth, as they say. You're just not going to, they go everywhere, the deflecting. Oh, look at that. No, I don't want to look at that. I want you to apologize. Let's say that's how the conversation goes. Fine. About what? About this thing you did. I didn't do it. You did. It's on video camera, the Akashic records. We can watch the video. But that's because I thought you wanted me to do that. No. A minute ago, you said you didn't even do it. Now you're saying it's because you thought I wanted you to, but I didn't. So that wasn't very nice. Okay. Open door. Here it comes. No. Well, I'm not going to apologize because it wasn't on purpose. I didn't say it was on purpose. It's just courtesy to say sorry because it happened, but it wasn't my fault. And on and on. Very small people, they can't afford any kind of a threat to their little identity because Either they think so lowly of themselves, or they're tired of other people, that raise them or whatever to make them feel that way. But just because you were brought up that way doesn't mean you take it out on me or others. Now, your refusal to say sorry becomes an abusive act, believe it or not. I know, a lot of people wouldn't want to believe that, but it's true. So my thing would be all about own the mistakes, apologize whenever you can. It's kind of cool. You have an argument with somebody, even if they started it, even if they magnified it, you can say, well, I'm glad we're talking and I'm really sorry about us, that argument. You can even word things that, if you heard what I just said, I didn't say I'm sorry that I started it, which if I don't think that's true, why would I do that? Instead, I'm sorry that it happened. Sorry that you got upset, or I'm sorry that there was upset. Sorry that this got out of line. Sorry for my part. It's beautiful, man. It's not a threat to take responsibility like that. No, man, I wish, more people could pull that off. I remember being at a sale once, someplace, and people were wanting to get in to buy something they wanted, and I remember this happened because it was so interesting. It's the first time I had seen these people anywhere, so I didn't know them, but there was this really strong body typed woman and her really big husband. And people were in line to get in this place. And they would have been about maybe 15th in line, but they were standing in the, they were walking up and standing in the front of the line. And I'm like, I don't know, second or third in line, just hanging out. And, just waiting. And people started looking at me because they were sort of cutting in front of me, but also in front of them. So people are looking at me like, what's up with them? Whispering and mumbles and they're like, well, say something to them. Well, why were they putting me in that position? Well, they might have sensed a strength, but it could have partly been because I was also being cut in front of them. Anyway, people are mumbling and whispering, So I'm like, oh, okay. Hey guys, just so everybody's in line, but the line's back there. We know. I tried to say that's bridging. Okay. Okay, well, I guess what I'm saying is you guys should probably go back there and get in line because they're going to open any second. Well, who do you think you are? We don't have to go anywhere you tell. Well, but the line's there. So, and I'm trying to be very practical and very grounded about it, and it's getting to the point where they're being very rude and, just kind of making rude comments. And disrupting and disturbing everybody, and people are, oh, there's tension, and is there going to be a fight or something, but I'm just being firm, you got to go back there and all that. Now, eventually the doors opened. Eventually we went in. I think they probably walked back at least part of the way to their spot. If not, they went part way back and went in and so on. Now, it just so happens that maybe a month later, I saw them at another place, just a store or something. And they said hi, and I said hi, and then they returned a hello. So it was nice bridging. And then I sat there and thought, hey, by the way, guys, I want to apologize for the tension that happened to that. Oh, no, it's fine. They were real nice, but it's not fine. I knew that, but they're being very nice. Oh, no, it's fine. We understand. No, I want to apologize anyway, because, there was tension and you guys seem like really great people. And I wouldn't want to know you that way. And also, some folks were getting tense and looking at me like putting a little bit of pressure. And so, I want to apologize. So we've now become friends. If I see them, there's hugs, and it's a funny thing, if I would have failed to apologize, the friendship would have always been where they say, oh, no, it's no problem. Then they would get in their car and say, yeah, there was that jerk again. That's how people are when they pretend to be okay. I know now that I have had times when I think I was at a sale at least once. I went to a yard sale or something, and I saw him there, and he didn't have any money on him, and I gave him the money, and he paid me back later, like maybe 6 months later, $20 or whatever it was. I mean, we're not like buddies, but I'm saying, yeah, they're friends, and say hello and cordial and hugs and trust like that. That would not have happened if I would have said, I'm not apologizing. It wasn't my fault. They're the ones who this. I know. But apologizing can be a way of us making a spiritual statement, which is, I care enough to bridge with you by this offering, which is called offering an apology. Okay? So think about that. Now, I'm not telling you to enable people with an apology. I'm sorry, it must have been my fault that you cheated on me, I'm sorry, it must have been my fault that you molested me. I'm sorry, it must have been my fault, et cetera, et cetera. No, I'm not telling you to take blame. I'm saying apologize where you can and when you can, and certainly make amends where necessary, but also use apology as a bridge. Your healthy self knows how to do it, to bridge, to open conversation. And I've had many times, I'm only sharing that one story, but many times where that apology was turned into, oh, I'm sorry, I know I snapped, but I didn't mean that at you. Oh, no problem, thank you, no problem. Where then all of a sudden we're bonding because I threw out an apology. They then thought, that was very nice. Or they think, God, he apologized and it wasn't even his fault. Their conscience kicks in and then allows them to turn it around into pleasant, a pleasant experience. Okay? So something to think about, but I think an important enough conversation, because it's not a flippant talk about apologizing. It's about apologizing, amends, how people do it compulsively, how people refuse to do it, and somewhere in the middle, mastery. Somewhere in the middle, miracle workers who know to ask when, how, where to apologize, how to make amends, to do so whenever possible, and to use it as a means of bridging with other human beings. Kind of like, hi there, sorry about that. It's a bridge. And everything is about building better relationships. So bridging is a great key to do that. I appreciate your time, folks. Join us any Friday, join us any Sunday, join us any Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Thursday. We have programs, 5 out of 7 days a week, that are basically free, other than invited donations. And then some days of the week, I do, usually Sunday afternoons, I'll do a workshop. Sometimes on a Saturday, but usually Sunday afternoons for a few hours. That's a few times a year. So I welcome you to get on our mailing list. We'll tell you what I'm doing, workshops and things. My website has DVDs, CDs. We even have, and books, of course, written about 10 books. But we even have on my website an online store. And in the store, you can order wonderful charts to help you navigate life. Charts meaning, you could say they're soul maps, right? Charts to navigate. And it's charts on soul's purpose, astrological or numerological, things like that, relationships, past lives, things that just give you an insight to your inner self, as Earth, Wind, and Fire once put it in a song. So God bless you all. Peace be with you. And I hope we see you soon. Bye-bye.